Good evening, guys. Welcome to On the Level Racing channel. The only real racing we're going to cover this evening is the Punchestown Festival, the first day of the festival. Obviously, this is the Irish equivalent to Cheltenham, and it's very late at night here, so I'm going to get straight into it without mucking about. We're going to go straight into 340 at Punchestown, which is a handicap hurdle, novices handicap hurdle, 26 go to post. It's just over 16.5 furlongs. And I liked one at a price here, which is John Dempsey's horse here in Fighting Fit, number 7 on the card. Last seen this horse when finishing third over at Ferryhouse, around these this sphere, around novice company hurdle, when finishing a exceptionally very good third to a horse called Shamrow. It was rated about 123. Fighting Fit was fancy that day, second favourite, and didn't run that bad at all, really. Apart from the mistake, he might have been a little bit closer. Around this time, 115, it would come to this race off a mark of 116. Very capable Simon Torrens on board with a £3 claimer. So there's no reason why Fighting Fit can't make his presence felt here, especially being by Cave Tara. Others we'll have to have a quick look at here is obviously Joseph O'Brien's horse in Scholastic. There'll be quite a lot of people probably backing this horse here, purely on the back of the April run at Cheltenham after the festival back in April, when finishing 3.5 lengths behind her indoors. You could probably say that was an exceptional run, actually, considering her indoors was very well handicapped and was targeted for that juvenile handicap hurdle on that day. So to be like the two horses there were very, very clear of the third, which was back in 7 lengths, which was Raffles Gatane. And that was a mark of 121. Probably ran up to a mark of about 125 that day. It will come into this off 123. So there's a couple of pounds still in hand there, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Scholastic run very, very well under JJ Slevin. Up the top of the market also there is John Hanlon's horse here, Hello Star. Has been knocking the door recently, 2 good seconds, both on heavy ground. Last seen here in Ireland on festival week, when beaten a short head by Denise Foster's Robbins Town. That was a weight of 12 stone. They were a length and a quarter clear of anything else in the field. I mean, the fact that he only carries less 10 stone 13 this time around would give him an exceptional chance there. That's Hello Star. I couldn't have clever currency, purely that the fact that the horse was finished behind Ya Ya Baby. And yeah, Jessica Harrington's horse here, very, very lightly raced 4-year-old filly. Bit short in the market for me, but beat clever currency last time out when odds on favourite by 2 lengths over at Cork. Consider the runner-up was 125 to 1 shot. Actually, the horse Clever Currency did come out and frank that form. So, you know, obviously the form night is definitely there. But like I said, I'm going to go with 2 against the field here. Obviously, my first choice will be Fighting Fit. And my second choice is going to be at the top weight here. A jockey I admire quite a lot around these kind of races, and that's Barrett O'Keefe. He comes here and he's riding Mr. Gibney's horse here in Great Bear. And this horse had quite good stats on the flat, actually. Rated about 80, 82. Wasn't disgraced last season around the hurdle ranks, and even competed a grade 3 juvenile hurdle. at Fairyhouse last year, when behind Burning Victory, second to Burning Victory. That was a grade 3 event. This year, looking at him, he's finished behind the likes of Magic Tricks on his maiden debut, back in Maiden Company. Obviously, Magic Tricks is fancied on the card this afternoon. Fifth in the maiden hurdle again, behind the likes of Gellard and Dumesnil, which was another exceptional maiden there over just 2.5 miles. And went on to run his first grade 1 when 9th of 13 in the Chanel Palmer, and obviously hurdle grade 1 at Leopardstown when behind the likes of Appreciate, Belly Adam and Blue Lord. So obviously, and also behind Magic Tricks that day also. That was over 2. That was on softer, heavy ground. I think this horse will improve more now that the ground's going a bit quicker. I thought he ran exceptionally well when finishing 4th in the Ribo Handicap Hurdle, behind Magic Tricks there again. So yeah, he has a little bit of find. He was getting what, £8-9 from Magic Tricks that day, and obviously still beaten over 3 lengths. So obviously, as to the form for Magic Tricks is quite strong. That horse is definitely fancied on the card this afternoon. So yeah, my 2 bets against the field in at 340 at Punchestown the first race will be half a point each way on Great Bear at a nice price. I think is about 11-1 with Bet365, and my other bet will be half a point each way on Fighting Fit at 10s, as with Bet365 also. On to the 4:15, which is the Econ Merchant Solutions Champion Novice Hurdle. Now, this is a grade 1 event and first of many for the week, over 16.5 furlongs. And obviously, there's been a lot of money around for Winnie Mullins' horse here, Echoes in Rain. She's a nice, well-bred mare by Derby winning authorised. Has won the last 2 races, and really we have to look at the Nace race when beating the likes of Belfast Banter, and obviously we know Belfast Banter came out and won at Cheltenham, and obviously backed that up by landing the Aintree race as well. So, and then obviously it gave that form a big boost by turning up at Fairyhouse to land a grade 2 when beating a horse called MC Muldoon by 15 lengths. How deep the race was is another thing. He was impressive. Picked up very quickly, and the race was finished with in strides. That was a mark 132. That would put him in the region approximately 138, probably about 141 plus. She comes into this with 141. So yeah, she's rightly she's been rightly penalised for that win, and she will get the mare's allowance, which is not always a big plus here, and we've already seen that this week at another meeting. So I do think Blue Lord is not a second string here. Paul Tanner always come back from injury. He's around 5-4 to win this, and I actually thought he was a tad unlucky. I mean, he wouldn't have beaten Appreciate It in the Supreme at Cheltenham. However, he would have got second. He was pulling away. He was comfortably in second for the race, and just sadly he fell at the last, which was a bit unwarranted, really. Considered this horse already this season finished behind Appreciate over at Leopardstown in the Grade 1 Chanel Farmer, where obviously that form line goes through Magic Tricks and Great Bear for the first race, and then obviously was a course and distance winner here when winning his maiden hurdle, and got within 6.5 lengths to Bob Oddinger over at Nace in the Grade 1 Laws of Nace Novice Hurdle. So yeah, good form line there. Went into Cheltenham rate of 445. Gets a £3 penalty, but however, I still think this horse is still improving. and I think rightly he deserves to be ahead of the ratings here, and I think Blue Lord could beat Echoes and Rainier, the mare. I think even though she's won a couple of good races, I think obviously Blue Lord proved from the Supreme that he would have been much closer. So for me, this will probably be a 2-point win here on Blue Lord at 5-4 with Bet365. That's probably the best price across the board. Ladbrokes and Corals only go 11-10. On to the 450. This is a Grade B race, 28 go to post. This will probably pay the first 4 or 5, depends who you're betting with. And this is the Kiddishi Hotel Handicap Hurdle, again over 16.5 furlongs. Reasonable money for the win here, 30,000 euros. This is the race that Magic Tricks runs in. Obviously, we have to see how the day goes, but if the form line goes through what I've already chosen, obviously Magic Tricks would have to go very, very close for Denise Foster. Last seen, as I said, finished 8th back in February to appreciate it. I had already beaten Great Bear at Navan this last year, back in December, and ran very, very, very well on the handicap in the Ribo when finishing half a length off a horse called Hearts Are Trumps that day. And obviously Great Bear was back in 4th. So it's a very, very strong form line here. And I think the extra, maybe half a furlong there might be in his favour on this quicker ground. Others I want to look in this race here. Jessica Harron's horse here, Exit Pole. Robbie Power comes in for the ride. It's around 16-1. Last seen at Ferry House when falling in the Boyle Sports Novice Handicap Chase, which was also a Grade B. That was over approximately the same trip. And we wouldn't know how well he would have gone. I mean, he was gone. He was gone at the first fence. So actually, we lost a few at race. Obviously, there was 1, 2. I think 2 at the first fence went. William Munnings, Yukon Lille went at a fence as well. The thing is, Exit Pole was favourite that day, 7-2 favourite. So very well fancied. Prize that was at Leopardstown. We win the beginner's chase over 17 furlongs. But beating a horse called Star Max. And the Star Max was rated 128, which would have put Exit Pole going into that race 134, 130, 136. Won it by 4.5 lengths. And comes off at about 132. So Exit Pole, if stays on his feet, is definitely for a danger in this race. Some have obviously lost their way here. I think Cerberus has lost his way for Joseph Bryan. Hasn't lived up to the hype. Wonderlash, yeah, a couple of good thirds there. Kevin Browder comes in for the ride, but I don't think good enough to win this kind of race. Whiskey Sour, Willie Mullins, Henry Morgan, a £5 claim. Whiskey Sour. Now we could have a look at this horse, but this would be some amazing achievement for Willie Mullins to get this horse to win. He's been off 750 odd days, 718 days since we last seen him. And obviously the last time we saw him was on the flat when he was third in the Chester Cup over at Chester. So and he was in consider he was fourth in the handicap, the County Hurdle at Cheltenham in 2019. And quite a good rating, 103, 104 on the flat. But we just don't know what we're going to see when he comes back. He's an 8-year-old now. So, yeah, we're going to have to take it on trust. I mean, 8-year-olds, there hasn't been many. In fact, there has been 8-year-olds since 2009. I mean, we're really looking for probably an exceptional 6-year-old here. But probably stands out. And one it does is obviously Willie Mullins again, and I think it's a very interesting, exceptionally good booking of CP McManara. Conor McManara, a £3 claim on the horse called Jazzaway. Whitegrass Racing Syndicate, who have done well in this race in the previous years. Nicely bred by Shantou. Last seen, this is where the form line really is. It hits home here. Handicap Hurdle debut against his own sex. was beaten by half length to Miss Milner. And that form was seriously franked when Miss Milner came out and won at the Cheltenham Festival when landing the Patemps network. So, yeah, and the fact now that horse is rated 134, 140, 142 possible. Yeah, approximately 142. So we go back quickly over, and Jazzaway was only run off 120 that day. So really, Jazzaway is probably officially rated at like 128, maybe 130. What he's achieving, he's getting off 126. So he's about right, but he's probably about £3 or £4 in hand there. So I expect this horse to run a big race also. So again, because there's such a big field, 28, we could probably get first 5 in this race. I mean, I'm happy to take again a 2 against the field. And the 2 I'm going to take against the field is the Jazzaway, Winnie Mullins. I mean, I'm happy to play this one each way. It's half a point each way at 12 to 1 with bet 365. And I'm also going to have a half point each way at 13 to 2 on Magic Tricks. I just picked the form lines there. If I'll be honest, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think Exit Pole's got a good chance, but I'm just worried about that, how much that 4 was taken out of the horse. So as I said, it'd be half a point each way on Magic Tricks at 13 to 2 with bet 365 and Jazzaway at 12s, half a point each way. On to the 525. This is the William Hill Champion Chase, Grade 1, 2 miler. And this is quite some match up here. This is first of two exceptional races. Obviously, Jacques and Poussoir is trying to come back after the disappointing loss to put the kettle on in the Queen Mother's Chase. But the washing's out for this race on me. First flow was back in 6th. Nuba Negre was a length in front of Jacques and Poussoir, but the form line is definitely there. I mean, it put the kettle on, it's disappointed since. But it's the fact that the ball's back in 4th, Grenadine, as we know, turned over Altior recently. So obviously there's a very strong form line there indeed, very strong. So I think this race could be won by either Jacques and Poussoir or Nuba Negre, or Negre, how you want to pronounce. On to obviously Winnie Mullins' other horse here, Allaho. This horse couldn't have been more impressive. I've been literally a runaway winner over 2.5 miles when winning the Ryanair Chase under Rachel Blackmore. And again, that form was franked with Facadudires coming out at Aintree and absolutely fresh in his field. He went and won the Marsh Chase, and he finished second, obviously behind Allaho. But there's a good form line through Jacques and Poussoir there as well, who he's finished second behind Facadudries. So obviously the big matchup here on the exchanges obviously is between Allaho and Jacques and Poussoir. I mean, Rachel Blackmore's obviously going to the horse is dropping back 2 miles. He's going to obviously try and take the sting out of Jacques and Poussoir on early doors, and we're going to see how good Jacques and Poussoir is going to be. But I'm going to take them both on with Dan Skelton's horse here, Nuba Negre. I still think there's more to come from this horse. Consider it's people might say, the form's not there. Consider putting the kettle on, as obviously disappointed since. However, Grenadine, they come out and beat a strong field, strongest field, which included Altior recently. I think obviously, like I said, Jacques and Poussoir and Nuba Negre is the form line there, and I just think Nuba Negre's got the kick. I mean, that was just shy of 2 miles, and I really think Yeah, Nuba Negra's got that kind of kick that he could, especially on this flat track, he could surprise here the two main principals. And I think in the market wise, I mean, at 4-1 is a bit of a gift, I think. I mean, I think it said Jacques and Poursoir looked pretty one-paced at Cheltenham, and Allaho obviously blitzed his rivals, but you know how much that's taken out of him, and the fact that he's stepping back in trip concerns me. So this will be, I'm going to go 1 point win here on the 525 Punchestown on Nuba Negra. It's a 1 point win at 4-1. On to the 555. This is the Goffs Land Rover Bumper, and this is over obviously 16.5 furlongs. A good prize money here, £60,000, 60,000 euros to a winner. And I'm definitely looking ahead of the market here. I think if we get it on pedigree, it's correct. If I can just find it. Yeah, Denise Foster's horse, JJ Cod. Obviously, sadly, JJ Cod couldn't go to any of the festivals due to the restrictions. But he's riding a horse here by Canonese called Non-Binding. And this horse is exceptionally well bred. I mean, this, when I say well bred, I'm talking about this horse is related to Fernie Hollow. I mean, Fernie Hollow, as we know, won a champion bumper at Cheltenham 2 seasons ago. So you know, and he's well related to four or five other winners. So I can see why he's ahead of the market, and he's obviously deservedly so, especially with JJ Cod on board. I mean, I think JJ's won this a couple of years, a couple of times on this. Won it last year on Festival DX, won it back in 2015, and he won his Stamford Authority due to the fact that he missed a very big festival this year. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really looking at the first two in the market. You've got Willie Mullins here's horse Hemlock, again nicely well bred by Walk in the Park, who obviously has sired bumper winners before, especially at Cheltenham. Was seen for first time up over at Clonmel when finishing 5th, beaten 5 lengths to a horse called Chantereuse. 7-4 favourite that day. It looks like he definitely needed to run. If you watch the race again, Patrick Mullins wasn't really hard on the horse. Obviously, he knew the race had gone, but he kept the horse going quite convincingly there, and just he stayed on the way to the line. I mean, I think obviously if Patrick wasn't caught flat-footed, he would have been a lot closer than his 5 lengths, I think. So yeah, Hemlock is definitely worth noticing, and the benefit of the run is obviously going to help. Another one who's had a benefit of run is Padraig Butler's De Capo Glory. Not again a nice gelding by Fame and Glory, who do quite well around this sphere. 16 in one shot here. Last seen when he's first time up, finishing 3rd at Tipperary. Over 2.25 miles, I believe. I don't want to load up. There we go. Yeah, so that's what I said. Finished 3rd, 5 lengths behind the eventual winner. Wasn't really fancied. It was pretty one pace. It was 2.25 miles on soft ground. Is a horse, especially by Fame and Glory, that they will benefit, obviously. That this horse should go better on the firmer conditions. So, but again, I'm willing to take 2 against the field here at the prices. I just think they're very good prices. I mean, okay, we're having a 1 point win on Non-Binding at 130 with Bet365. I'm happy to have half a point each way at 11-2 with Bet365 on Hemlock, top 2 in the market. You know, so I can't see why they can't run big races. I mean, it's unknown quantity anyway, so I mean, it's many having the first time out here. I mean, you've got Stephen Crawford's horse Hoddington. You've got Edward O'Grady's horse here, Huntington, who finished 4th on debut for Edward O'Grady. We finished up being the likes of Mary Pride, but he's about 7-1 in the market, so he is fancy. That was over Ferry House. I'm just going to see if that form's been franked or if it's been anything gone out with it. Not really, no. Beaten just over 2 lengths when obviously it was 12-1 shot that day. Pat Taff rode it. This time around, it will be ridden by Mr. T. Hamilton, who obviously we don't know. That usually rides with Joseph O'Brien. So I'm just going to stick with my 2 selections there. Oh, I'm sorry, we've got one more there. Apologise. Cave Tara gelding here. Springwell Bay. Margaret Mullins' horse. Very, very eye-catching jockey of Derek O'Connor riding this. If it loads up, guys, there we go. So obviously it's on debut here by Cave Tara, leading consul, partly owned by Margaret Mullins also, so she trains and owns this. It's Springwell Bay. It's around quite short in the market, around 10-1. If we quickly look over here, I mean, the prices are not really significant, but I would prefer to back in a horse at least have had a run, I think. So yeah, the 2 I've already put up, guys. Yeah, if you remember what I said there, it's a 1 point win 130 on non-binding, and a ½ point each way on Hemlock at 11-2. That's in a 5.55. On to the 6.30. This is the Dooley Insurance Group Champion Novice Chasers, the Grade 1. This is probably the best race of the day, over the extended 3 miles. And this is a matchup. This is Monkfish versus Envoy Adam. My first theory was going to be, I did like Cole Reevy when the horse jumps for fun, but I don't think Cole Reevy's a good enough mare. I mean, and to be honest, yeah, I don't think a mare's won this race in the last 15, 16 years. In fact, I don't think if it's won at all. So I mean, I think obviously Cole Reevy is there on sufferance. So I don't think she's that good to beat this quality field, especially in Monkfish and Envoy Adam. Now we know Monkfish won at Cheltenham. It was quite impressive doing it, but his jumping was a little bit sceptical for me. I didn't think he jumped as well as normally does. I mean, obviously coming back into Ireland, you would like to think that his horse is quality, which it is. But I think this time around, I think there'll be no mistakes from Rachel Blackmore on Henry de Bromhead's Envoy Adam. Now, considering that this race has been won by Gordon Ed the last 2 years, and as we know, Envoy Adam was in the hands of Gordon Ed until what happened. So obviously Henry de Bromhead had to pick up the pieces with his horse. So I think when he went into Cheltenham, obviously he was down to win the race. Obviously there was a lot of money going on, doubles and trebles on him, and he just made, I think this Rachel just made a simple mistake, and obviously Danny went in the Marshes novice. He's a course and distance winner. He beat Phil's the Orderies by 3.5 lengths, so 2.5 miles. I think he's a horse that's been crying out for 3 miles, Envoy Adam. I really, really do. No Jack Kennedy this time. Obviously, they've put Rachel Blackmore in this time. Great move by Henry de Bromhead. And I think, the mistake that Jack made at Cheltenham, Rachel will rectify. And I think we could see a procession here that Envoy Adam, the Cheveley Park stud horse, could literally put Monkfish well and truly in his place. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. So this is going to be my napper today. And it is a 6.30 at Punchestown. This is a 3 point win, 3-point win at 5-4. You can get it generally across the board. Some places 6-5, but I'm going to go 3-point win at 5-4. Envoy Allen to win the 6:30 at Punchestown. That's my nap. On to the 7 o'clock. This is the Kildare Hunt Club for Shornbury Memorial Chase for the ladies Perpetual Cup over 3 miles 1 furlong. Again, average money for the race £6,000. It's the Perpetual Cup, so you'll probably find some firms will pay first for on this. We've got a very strong favourite in this. An horse called You Cannot Be Serious, 8-11. Right down the bottom now for Emma Bolger and Derek O'Connor, 8-11. So, but I actually fancy taking this horse on. Crazy enough, it might be as I sound, but I just do. I just think Edna Bolger's been out of form, over the last couple of seasons. And I'm going to take her on here with a horse. I'm going to take her on with all the horse, with her actual second string. If it makes sense. Like I'm saying, I'm talking it down that Edna Bolger has a good form the last couple of seasons, but I don't think. On pedigree, I think Sam Benedict is the better horse. And I actually think, even though Derek O'Connor's not a claiming horse, he's a professional, I actually think the £7 claimer here, I think, is it Henry Swan or Harry Swan? I think maybe Henry Swan. Rides St. Benedict. Now, I think this horse would have won last time. Obviously, he didn't unseat the rider. He was fancied to win it. He's 13-20 favourite to win over at Downpatrick in a maiden hunter's chase, which would be set his horse up perfect for this race. Every chance. He was back in third at the time, so he was beaten. He made a mistake and seated the rider. Same claimer. I think there's more to come from this horse over this trip. He's run over this trip before, beat again and beaten. He's very costly to follow. He's lost his last 3 races as favourite, so it has been costly to follow. So I can see why You Cannot Be Serious. This will be some training performance of this horse. Wow, I just realised 728 days since this last horse was seen, and he's 8-11 on. This horse must be showing some serious work at home. This horse hasn't been seen since this race back in 2019, when he was, well, there's not much stats on him really. He failed to finish. He pulled up, I presume, because just what did he fall? I think he fell. I think he fell at the 7th. I think 7th fence. So he fell quite early in the race, did he? I'm not quite sure. Let's have a look. Am I mistaken? Because he looks. No. And prior to that, he's a horse that's been targeted this race the last 3 years. Now, he finished second in this race back in 2019 when runner-up to a horse called Blue Templar of the same stable, Edna Bolger. This is like the Glenfarclas of Cheltenham for me, where Edna Bolger used to dominate quite for many years. I might actually leave this race alone, even though I do fancy Saint Benedict. But I suppose realistically, 728 days. This horse has been pinpointed for this race. Must have been injured last season. Oh, I don't know, but this is the only race this horse seems to go for. He reminds you of Quavega, basically. So no bet for me. This horse is definitely 8-11 for a reason. And I won't be surprised to see Edna Bolger get 1 and 2 in this race with Saint Benedict, but you never know. But I'm not even going to attempt to find something outside to beat any of them. So we'll leave the 7 o'clock alone. On to the 7:35, which is the Irish Field. We are all about horse flat racing. Again, over 16.5 furlongs. Again, a very, very poor prize money for a flat race, €6,000. So it's not warranted to be that great. And I did have a look at this race quite hard, and I've gone for an outsider here. I'm not going to talk too many up here. I mean, Willie Mullins has obviously got a Harakiri, who finished third last time out on debut over at Garum Park, when finishing third behind a horse called Percival Legalice, beating 6 lengths and was beaten at 40-11 favourite, and didn't really impress me, if I'd be truthful. Also, we've got Don Rua Dream, another horse, has had a debut run, finishing second over at Clonmel, when behind a horse called Chantreuse. And as back in fifth there was a horse called Hemlock, who I said I do fancy for the other bumper, on the Goffs bumper. If you can probably look at here, a quick look through. No one I did like in the field. There was no one I liked if you want to look through this one here. Just give me a quick look. King of Cashel, John Stack's horse here. First time out, by Ruler of the World and Duke of Marmalade. I mean, I can't see why this horse won't run well at 11-1. And I mean, again, it's a race here with you've got 26 runners. It's again, some firms might, Paddy Power and Bold Sports, or even Bet365, depends who you bet with, might obviously offer 4 places, but it usually be 3 places. But I'm gonna we'll be looking around for the 4 places if there is any. So the 2 against the field here, I'm going definitely. I'm going to go with half a point each way on Don Rua Dream. That's Don Rua Dream at 10-1 with Bet365. It's half a point each way. And my second selection in this race is King of Cashel. King of Cashel, which is a half a point each way at 14-1 with Bet365. So that's my selections for the first day at Punchestown. Like I said, I will be doing a podcast every day for the meeting, and all the rest of the week, and I'll be looking at nothing else in the race, during the week. So it'll just be this meeting only. Without further ado, I'm going to get this uploaded, guys. Hope you enjoy. Please click subscribe on the bottom here, and I really would like you to obviously make some comments, which would be nice. Obviously, horses you fancy in these races I've selected, any views you have, if you're against or you have your own selections, please feel free to write and pass your views on down the bottom there. So we're going to call it a night. Take care, guys, and we'll see you on tomorrow's blog. All the best. Over and out.